Since the early 1900s, Americans made Baja California a favorite tourist destination. Playas de Tijuana, Rosarito Beach, and Ensenada became popular weekend and vacation spots. By 2006, 17 million visitors from the United States, Canada, Asia, and Europe visited the North Baja Coast to enjoy the beautiful beaches, breathtaking sunsets, and scenic coastal views stretching from Tijuana to Ensenada. They came to visit, and many stayed to live.
Welcome, I'm Patrick Osio with Transborder Communications. For the past 11 years, I've been writing articles for the San Diego Metropolitan and other business magazines covering the Baja California and San Diego regions. The last few years, the concentration of my articles was on the real estate boom along the North Baja Coast from Tijuana to Ensenada, which led to the filming of a documentary on how to safely buy real estate in Mexico titled The Baja Real Estate Boom, Opportunities and Pitfalls. This documentary is a sequel. Baja California has over 17 million visitors from the U.S. From these, over 250,000 have decided to buy a vacation home or live in semi or full retirement along the Baja California Peninsula. Their stories are fascinating. Like Melinda Bates, who worked for 8 years in the White House during the Clinton administration. She came to visit, and she returned to live. Like Melinda says, there's many other stories. How did they happen to come to Baja and then decide to settle here? Did the proximity to the U.S. border play a part in their decision? Do they find differences in culture and language difficult to overcome? Are medical services of quality available to them? What's there to do to pass the day? And are they safe? In this documentary, you will meet many Americans, Canadians, and people from many other countries living in Baja. They will tell you their stories. The one thing they have in common is they came to visit and stayed to live.
We're at an age that we were preparing for retirement, and so the low cost of housing and taxes and healthcare intrigued us.
Monica Key came to San Diego from Denver, Colorado, searching for an affordable place to retire.
Actually, I only researched property in San Diego, and we found that coming from Colorado, it was too expensive for us to invest up there. And so we looked south of the border and ended up buying a house in Baja Mar. We'd heard that the prices were less expensive, of course, than anywhere in the U.S., and we're at an age that we were preparing for retirement, and so the low cost of housing and taxes and healthcare intrigued us.
Another fascinating story is Melinda Bates, who after 8 years with the Clinton administration found Baja, where she now lives and is writing a book about her White House experience.
One Sunday morning, we turned on the television to the CBS Sunday morning program, and they were doing a segment on Rosarito Beach, Baja California Norte, Mexico. And they interviewed all these Americans who were deliriously happy about living here. And they showed the beautiful blue Pacific and the sandy beaches and the cliffs and the wonderful people. And it was Mexico, which just sounded so exciting. And I turned to my boyfriend and said, let's go check that out. So 2 weeks later, we were here. And we were here just to look because, of course, what kind of a lunatic comes to a place where she's only been for a day or so and decides to turn over her whole life and move? And you have to be crazy to do that, right? So I was finding things nice but resistible, and then I was taken to a little house with a big patio overlooking the ocean, and I stood and looked at it and turned around and said, I'm home. This is where I want to be. This is what I'm doing. I'm buying this house. I'm moving here.
Kathy Katz, born in Hawaii, found Baja 17 years ago. She is project director for Palacio del Mar, less than an hour away from the U.S. border.
I left Hawaii when I was in college, and you know, in Hawaii we just had a bunch of surfers, and I came to L.A. and oh my gosh. And I did try and go back to Hawaii, but I missed not having access to all the things. The snow, you know, the nightlife of Los Angeles, but I knew I didn't want to live there. And so when I moved here 17 years ago, it seemed so far away, but I still had, like I did in Hawaii, that small town, but I was still right next door to, I'm 5 hours to drive to go skiing. I can be in any downtown city in half an hour to 2 hours, and that's where Mexico really drew to me, is that I could still have my island-like feeling without the island fever.
Bob Coleman was born in Chicago and lived in Seattle. But when it came time to retire, before finding Baja, Puerto Vallarta was the first choice.
So we went there and we moved down there. And it was great. The problem of it is, in the summer and fall, it is so hot, the humidity, we couldn't take it any longer. So then we got on the internet and we came to the Baja and came to Rosarito and saying that it's the most perfect weather of all of Mexico.
Came down here to visit a friend and just fell in love with northern Baja.
What brought me to Baja was the ocean.
I love the whole atmosphere, the people, the culture, the food, everything.
So we came here on a visit and in August, and I fell in love with it.
The allure of the North Baja Coast is not just beautiful beaches, amazing sunsets, God-carved rocky seaside cliffs, and rolling hills. It is also about activities: fishing, sailing, surfing, horseback riding, whale watching, and of course shopping. And oh yes, eating, providing cherished memories lasting a lifetime.
Rosarito is growing as a town. There are lots of really lovely restaurants. We dance tango. We love tango, and there's actually a small tango community here. That's a lot of fun for us.
So when I was looking at different areas, my main priority was to have a view. There's something about Puesto del Sol. It's cradled in this valley. It's got a very warm feel to it, and it just felt like home when I got here. And